Hello. Can you guess where I am? I'm back down at the lake, back home again. And it's just such a beautiful afternoon down here. Like right now, I've been back a couple of weeks, and I have to say it hardly seems like a couple of weeks since I make the last, the cat Trecena video. But it's been quite surprisingly rainy here in Guatemala. This is supposed to be dry season, but today this feels like, well, maybe yesterday was the first day that really felt like dry season. We've got this clear blue sky. The sun is setting there. Just up there, you can see the moon just rising over Tangku Hill there. And I thought, what a lovely place to come to make a video for you today. And today I'm going to be talking about the Trecena of No'j. So No'j, the Nawal of the mind, the Nawal of the brain. In some ways, I like to see No'j as representing the left hemisphere of the brain, as representing the right hand, representing the logic, representing the knowledge, representing the intellect, the ability to use the knowledge that we have to bring it together to solve our problems in life. It is a time of new solutions. It's a time of new ideas. It's about bringing forward everything that you've learned, all of this knowledge, all of the understanding that you've been collecting, and coming up with a new idea from it, because that's what it's all about, right? Now, there's a few interesting things happening in this Trecena. Now, this seems to have been a theme since, a few weeks back when I was talking about, the time of Samhain. I was talking about the change of, or the return of the Year Lord and all of this kind of thing. Then we've just gone through Aq'ab'al. Last week we went through Aq'ab'al. And in this Trecena, we're going to go through the return of Venus. We're also going to see the recreation of the world. So this is all happening during this No'j Trecena. Okay, so we're going to begin with one No'j. No'j, as I said, the Nawal of the mind, the Nawal of the brain. The number one representing novelty, representing newness, representing birth and beginnings. It's the beginning of a new idea. It's the beginning of being able to bring your ideas together, to bring your knowledge together, to come up with a solution, to come up with a new idea. So one No'j is a great day to be going forward with that. We also see the one being very much rather like a seed. We see the one being something which we need to encourage to grow. And so we take that knowledge, that idea, that first little spark of an idea, and what are we going to do with it? Well, we need some fertilizer. We need some water. We need something to help it to grow into its potential. And that's what the one is about. For me, we can see it as our friends, our family, our community helping us, giving us their advice on this new idea that we might have around. This is something that they can help us to grow it. Excuse me, there might be some wind noise coming through at the moment. It's getting a bit windy here. So one No'j. Take your ideas out to people, ask for their advice, ask for help to grow this potential into something, to make it bigger. We can also see it as, kind of like No'j, whilst we would see No'j as being thought, No'j is also known as earthquake. No'j is also known as incense. No'j is known as something which comes in a flash. And here, with the number one, this is like a new flash of inspiration, a new idea that comes through. So maybe you've been looking for a solution, and all of a sudden, bam, it comes through on one No'j. So, kind of like if you were looking for a new solution to an old problem, perhaps, then one No'j might be the day to find it. From one No'j, we then go into two Tijax. So, two Tijax can be a very tough day. Tijax can be healing. It can represent the bringing of peace. But Tijax is also the obsidian blade, that which cuts. Tijax is that which pares away what is not needed. And here we see it with the number two, representing duality, representing seeing things in a very polarized way. That stays, that goes. There is no in between, no spectrum between it. It is either 1 or it is 0. Okay, and so this can be really good as well, of course, because it is seeing kind of like exactly what needs to be cut away and what needs to stay in this new idea. We can see the 2 also representing relationships, and so it may be a day of the healing within relationships. It might also be a day on which you can see what needs to be cut away in order to bring that relationship to, kind of like its full health. Now, the other thing that we see on this Tu Tijax day is that this, according to the Dresden Codex, is going to be the day on which Venus returns as an evening planet. So on the evening of Tu Tijax, go out to the west, or go out and look to the west, watch the sunrise, because it's always nice to watch the sunrise, right? And then just right after sunrise, you should see just above the horizon, the sun will go down, and then you'll see Venus kind of glow up briefly before it also drops below the horizon. Okay? And from Tu Tijax onwards, for the next 250 days or so, you'll watch Venus in the evening sky each day. If you were to go out at, let's say, 6 o'clock when when it's dark or whatever, you'll watch Venus getting higher and higher and higher for the first kind of like 180 days or so. It will get to its highest, and then it will start to drop down quite rapidly as it sinks towards its inferior conjunction. So Venus arriving as the evening star can be something which is helping us to look at the places within us, the hidden places, sometimes the dark places as well. Now, thankfully, it's kind of like it's not combined with the sun in this way, because, last time we went through Venus as the evening star with the sun in its midst, it was kind of like illuminating lots of darkness. This time it's kind of on the other side, actually, because we're looking at it through the lens of the winter sun, as it were. But, kind of like this is a time when you may well be looking within yourself. I feel that the evening star phase of Venus brings a lot of introspection, because it's kind of like working it out as to, kind of like the obsidian mirror that's within us, what it's reflecting, what it's showing. So if we combine that and say, well, this phase begins with Tu Tijax, we can see that it can be a very healing time, maybe a very cathartic time as well. And it may well be a time when we're looking within us to kind of like let go and really have a good look at kind of like what is reflected and whether that is going to stay or whether that is going to go, and there is no in between. From Tu Tijax, we're then going to 3 Kawok. So Kawok, the Nawal of the rain. Kawok, the Nawal of the storm. The Nawal of the midwife. The Nawal of birthing. And this, for me, is a very important day. This is the future of Aq'ab'al. The number 3 can represent the inner world, but it can also represent the home place. Now, if we were looking over there and waited a couple of hours until it got sufficiently dark, we would see Orion beginning to rise. And of course, I often talk about the number 3 and its connection with the Orion Nebula, its connection with those 3 stars, Alintak, Saif and Rigel, marking the hearthstones of creation, the place of emergence. Well, here we see that number 3, that home place, that place of emergence, connected with Kawok. So this is the birthing which comes from the place of emergence. And so this is a very, very special thing. This is about things coming, like being born from within the home. This is a day for, kind of like healing, for working through the tough stuff, to get what is inside out, to get it born into the world. That's what 3 Kawok is about. Now, going back to this kind of like mythological or astronomical realm, what we see after 3 Kawok is 4 Ajpu. 4 Ajpu. Maybe you remember that. Maybe you've heard it somewhere before. Maybe you've thought about it somewhere before. Where you may have heard it before would have been with December 21st, 2012. That was a 4 Ajpu day. August 13th, 3114 BC, also a creation day, also for Ajpu. Why do I see it as important? Well, we have the 4 representing the physical realm, and we have Ajpu representing the divine. We have Ajpu representing the source, the lords, as it were. And so it can represent the holy. And so for me, 4 Ajpu is the manifestation of the divine into the physical form. For me, this is why it's a creation day. So this is what 3 Kawok was birthing in. This is what 8 bats was gestating, and what was conceived from 13 Aq'ab'al all that time ago. And so we see this whole process where on one level it is conceived, woven, and then the birth process starts. And what is it doing? It's bringing in the resurrection of the maize, because Ajpu is also sometimes referred to as the resurrection of the maize, the return of life. And we see it with the number 4. So this is bringing it into our material world, into our physical world. So it is a fantastic day of creativity. This is a day when, if you've got something that you want to create in a divine manner, you kind of want to pour an essence of something which is more than average, more than normal into it, then 4 Ajpu is your creation day for doing that, because it suggests kind of like getting a helping hand from the divine to manifest things into physical form. From 4 Ajpu, we're then moving into 5 Imox. Imox representing the lake, representing the great waters. Imox, the one who represents our dreams as well. And here with the number 5. Now, the number 5 representing the one hand that we're doing work with. And so, kind of like, I always see this as having to put our energy into whatever it's attached to. What's it attached to? Our dreams. And so, 5 is not just things aren't just going to drop in your lap. 5's is a time when you've got to go out and actually put some graft in, put some effort into it. And so what are we doing? We're surrounding it with our dreams. This is what we're supposed to be working on. So what are you dreaming into existence? Today suggests that we need to go out and put our energy into that, rather than just expecting it just to show up. Now, yes, we've got a good idea. The beginnings of a good idea with Hun No'j. The whole Trecena is about that. But 5 Imox is suggesting, right, okay, let's put our energy into bringing those dreams into existence. Now, the number 5 can also represent rushing into things from time to time. So have to be a bit careful not to, maybe kind of like take things too fast. How is your dream going? What dreams are you bringing into existence right now? And are you rushing them, or are you allowing them? Are you putting in sufficient work to bring them to like a full and mature fruition, something which has substance to it? 5 Imox might be a good day to be focusing on that work to bring your dream into fruition. From 5 Imox, we're then going into 6 Aq'ab'al. Now, here I am, you're probably, hopefully, hearing the waves and maybe hearing all the grackles that are in these reeds. They're all singing. You can hear all them birds going on. They're communicating. The Nawal of the wind. Well, the wind was blowing earlier as well. The Nawal of the divine breath. The Nawal of the word of communication. And here, combined with the number 6, the ultimate stability that brings together the physical realm with the 4, and the up and the down, the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth, connecting in the physical realm in ultimate stability. Divine Father and Divine Mother coming together to create into the physical realm. And here we see it connected with communication. And so, kind of like if you have some words to get out, 6 Aq'ab'al is a wonderful day to do it. It's a balanced number. The 6 is a balanced number. And so it's going to deliver those words in a balanced and measured way. Now, Aq'ab'al, yes, it can be the hurricane, and sometimes Aq'ab'al can be too forceful. Our words get remembered, but they don't always get remembered for the right reasons, right? But on a 6 Aq'ab'al, well, it's kind of easier to control, it's easier to balance. And so Siksik is a great day to be getting on with anything that you need to communicate, to ensure that it has the physical impact that it's supposed to have. But we could also consider that maybe on Siksik, those words are also carrying a little bit of that divine magic, that a bit, kind of like from the Father Sky and Mother Earth. And so Siksik, anything that you got to do with communication would be a wonderful day to be doing it. From Siksik, we're then going into 7 Aq'ab'al. So the dawn and the dusk. Well, here we are. Maybe I'm going to swing the camera around a little bit because it's getting really pretty in the sky out there. And I'll try and keep the moon in shot as well. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And so right over there is where the sunrise will happen tomorrow. And we can see those colours coming in the sky. We've still got the moon just up there as well. Aq'ab'al, the dawn and the dusk, the time between times. Now, I'm imagining that if we're not at sunset, we're just past sunset because all the colours are coming, and that's what happens then. And Aq'ab'al is this time of conception. When we're talking in particular about the dawn, it is the conception of the new day. I suppose the sunset is the conception of the night. It's a change over time, the time between the worlds. It's not quite in this world and it's not quite in that world. It's not quite day and it's not quite night. It's in between the two. That's Aq'ab'al. Okay? And so 7 is about finishing stuff up. It's about endings. It's about coming to conclusions. The 7 is also about making choices. Now, I often see it like this. If Aq'ab'al is the twilight that begins an hour and a half before sunrise, 7 Aq'ab'al, death, endings of the twilight, is the time when the first rays of sunlight come over that horizon. 7 Aq'ab'al is finalizing the conception. When we start, these new concepts come in and we're not sure where they're going to take us. We're not sure what we're going to do with them, how we're going to work with them. Well, 7 Aq'ab'al is saying it's done, okay? Everything is ready to pass on. This concept that we've been working on, right, okay, I've finished. I've done all the art for it. It's all ready to go. It's time to move it on. It's time to begin it. And for me, 7 Aq'ab'al is like finishing up the concept so that we can move it on to something more solid. From 7 Aq'ab'al, we're then going to 8 Kat. So Kat, the net. Kat, that which we're carrying our harvest with. Kat, that which binds us as well. It can be our burden as well as our blessing. And here we see it with the number 8. Well, the number 8 is about wholeness. It's about totality. It's about seeing everything being brought together. I often see kind of like the 8, it's the 1 of beginnings and the 7 of endings together. It's the whole thing coming together. It's recognizing that, like we could say, that our cat, our net, has finite capacity. And in order to use it, we have to work out what we want to keep and what we want to leave behind. And we understand that the wholeness of that cycle is what keeps everything interesting. It's what keeps everything fresh. Cat days are always good days to be decluttering, to be sorting things out. Cat days are days on which you make your decluttering, on which you empty what needs to be emptied, and what you fill what needs to be filled. And so, as a consequence, 8 Cat is a fantastic day to be working out what it is, in wholeness that you want to carry. It's like a time to wholly embrace it or wholly let it go. It's going back to that 2 Tijax again, right? You see how that moved on to there? Because sometimes we're kind of like, well, I kind of think I want to let that go, but I'm not entirely sure because I kind of like it as well, and I don't know how I'll live without it. But no, that's it. Keep, drop, stay, leave. 8 cat is showing us how to do that. We could also see the number 8 as being the day of the ceremony, and we could see 8 cat as being a celebration of the harvest. We could see 8 cat as being a day on which we make ceremony to give thanks for everything that fills our net. From 8 cat, we then move into 9 can, the spark of life. Can, our life force energy. That ki, that chi, that reiki, the kayapa that flows through our blood, that flows through our veins, the lightning in our blood. This is can, this is our life force, this is what brings us our power, this is what brings us our wisdom. This is what we can use to heal, and it's what we can use to destroy, it's what we can use to create, and it's what we can use to create illusions. And so it's very important that we understand how to use the No'j can, to bring wisdom, to share that wisdom in order to empower those around us. And what are we empowering with? Today, the number 9. We could see it as feminine wisdom, and we can see it as life wisdom. This is this deep life wisdom that we carry, that comes as we've been working with our energy throughout life. 9 can, I think, is a wonderful day to be sharing your life wisdom with people, to be empowering people around you. From 9 can, we're then going to move to 10 Kame. So Kame, the No'j of the ancestors, the No'j of death. Kame, the No'j of facing our challenges as well. Yep, more challenges. Facing the things that we fear. And here we see it with the number 10. The number 10 representing community. Now, this could be a wonderful day for sharing. 10 Kame representing the ability to help each other to go through our challenges. The 10, we're giving a hand up. We're reaching a hand out. Say, hey, I'm here to help you through this. Kame, representing death and the face of the things that we fear. Now, chances are that our community, someone in it, somebody around it, has probably gone through it before. Maybe they're the people who are going to help us to go through the things that we face so that we can transform, because that's what Kame is here to do. That community of ancestors that support us as we walk, that help us to transform as we go through life, that help us to move into our higher aspects through facing our fears. So 10 Kame may bring some fears to face, but it's also saying look to your community and look to the ancestors within your community, because they're the ones that might have the key that helps you to go through this transformative process. From 10 Kame, we're then going to 11 Kirch. Okay, so Kirch, the No'j of the wilderness, of the mountain place and the tree place. The No'j of the animals and what we learn from them. The No'j of spiritual leaders. Now, let me see if I can point it out. Just right about there, on Tsanko Hill, there is an altar called 11 Kirch. That was the altar on which I was initiated back in 2015, quite some time ago now. And it was also a year lord back in 2010, if I remember rightly, a while ago now as well. 11 Kirch is a very strong day. 11 Kirch can be a day where you have the number 11, which is, it's all over the place, right? And Kirch, which has all this dynamic power to move around, charging like the horse, charging like the deer. And so, we have to be a bit careful on 11 Kirch. It might make us a bit headstrong, and we might choose to charge in random directions. But it's also about connecting with the natural world. And it's about connecting in many different ways, because for me, that's what the 11 is about. It's about not following the standard route. It's about going somewhere different. It's about trying out different things, different ideas in different areas. The 11, we don't know what connects all of these different points or dots together, but we got to go there and find out. And if we're connecting that, this is a day of wandering in the hills. This is a day of wandering in nature. Now, in this time of No'j, in this time where we are, we've been kind of like bringing our new idea in. 11 Kech is here to tell us that, kind of like if you're still working out how to grow that idea, why not take a wander? Just don't go where you feel. Don't go by the map. Don't go with your GPS or whatever, Just go where you feel. Hey, I think I need to turn right here, or I need to go 100 yards that way, or whatever it might be, or I'm going to hike until I find this, and then I'm going to find out which direction I want to go in. It's a day for, kind of like an aimless wander in the woods is what I would say, because this may well bring you some of the understanding that you need in order to help to bring that new idea in. From 11 Kech, we're then going into 12 Anil. So Anil, the Nawal of yellowing. Anil, the Nawal of ripening. Anil, the Nawal of receiving the fruits of our labour. This is where it comes to its ripeness. Again, we're still working on that new idea, that new plan, right? Well, 12 Anil is the one that reminds us of what we've been through before. It reminds us of things, ideas, whatever it might be, that we've had before. Because the 12 represents all of our life's experience coming together. And Anil is here to ripen. And so this is saying, hey, hang on. Just when you weren't exactly sure what you were looking for or where you were supposed to go next, maybe look to what you've done within your life, what you've experienced within your life, because that's where you have the energy in order to bring that new idea to its full ripeness, to its full abundance. So 12 Kanil, the ripening through life experience, that's what you should be looking at. And then finally, the final day of this Trecena, 13 Toch. 13 Toch, well, Toch, the day of giving. Toch is the day of paying your debts off. It's a day of making things good. Energetically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it might be, Toch is a day to pay so that we are relieved of our sicknesses. It's a day to make our donations. You'll see, I'm going to put up here about the Odim. I'm going to put up here about the elders in Peten, in Poptun, and the Nimahai, the Popol Hai project, in case, you wish to make a donation to them. It's a day to be paying off your debts. Now, which debts are we paying off? Well, here we see it with the number 13. And the number 13 can represent the ancestors. Now, it could represent the ancestors that we're making a payment to, but it could also represent the ancestors that we're paying on behalf of. Now, it's something which I feel is a theme which has come up for, a lot of people, but quite widely in society right now, is paying off the debts of our ancestors who maybe did things which would be very much out of alignment with the way that our world works now. And maybe that was the way that their world worked then, and maybe they didn't know any better, and all of that kind of thing. But somewhere, someone has to break the chain. And one of the things that we see kind of like for us in the world that we live in right now is that we are here to break the continuity. That thing that happened before, that thing that we've been carrying for generations, that burden, that debt that we've been carrying, we didn't even know we were carrying it. We didn't know that was what was making us sick. whether it was mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually, because it didn't get paid. And here we are. It's time to break the cycle. It's time to break the chain so that we don't pass it on to the next generation. And so this is what 13 Toch is here to do, whether it is making your offering in a cemetery, or whether it is making your offering in kind to people around, or whatever it might be. The emphasis is behind making things generationally right with what you have to offer. And so 13 Toch is a wonderful day to be healing. Because when you make that offering, that's what it does. The disease exists to remind us that we'd forgotten to pay for something. And when we pay it, of course, the disease has no reason to exist anymore. And so this is something which, of course, benefits all when we sort it out, when we clear it up. So it's a day to be paying off our debts in whatever shape or form they might take. And it's a day, kind of like to make that resolve with the ancestors, to make sure that everything is brought into balance. So, I hope that has been of interest to you. I hope that you've enjoyed this Trecena of No'j. And I look forward to seeing you again in 13 days' time for the Trecena of No'j. Thank you.